Well, hello everyone, good evening and welcome to One Hub Racing, the start finally of season 14 here with your solo commentator for the season. My name is Alex Lilliard and welcome to the Prestige Tier here in beautiful Melbourne for round one here in Australia. I'm joined for the little pre-race grid walk that we are introducing for this season. I've got two drivers with me at the moment. I've got a SUV Paris and I've also got Samster F1 as well. Paris, I'll come to you first of all very quickly before qualifying does start. The game's been out for a few months. There's been a lot of time for you to go away and practice and develop your own driving skills as the weeks have gone on. Now finally, with all the driver contracts sorted out, the pre-season race done, we're here ready in the lobby to go for the beginning of the season. Excited? Nervous? How are you feeling before this season finally now does start?
It's a bit of a nervous excitement really. I'm just eager to get going and race a lot of these guys, because there's a few that obviously I've raced before, a lot of the big names, but there's quite a lot of the grid I actually haven't gone wheel to wheel with before, so it'd be good to see how it pans out all over a whole season, really. Yeah,
you said obviously some of these guys you know, some of them you don't. Do you find it might be a bit of a challenge in the first few races where some of these guys, you don't know so much about them, so it's going to be difficult to work out, their strengths and weaknesses at certain tracks, at certain corners? Or are you relishing the challenge of, going wheel to wheel with some of these guys and trying to work out where you stand in this pecking order?
Even not knowing them, just them in this tier, know they're some of the top drivers on the game really, and so I'll go wheel to wheel with them immediately as soon as possible, because if they manage to get here, they must be respectful. You've got respect for each other on and off track. And finally for me then, have you set yourself any sort of short and long-term goals for this season? Obviously, everyone wants to get off to a good start for the first couple of the races of the season and build some sort of confidence and momentum for themselves. But do you see yourself as the kind of driver that takes each race as it comes and see where you stand in the championship after each week? Or is it a case of you've set yourself a long-term goal already and you're already sort of predicting, I want to be top 5, I want to be top 3, I want to win the title? Where do you stand on that? I usually try and take each race as it comes, but my long-term goal for the season is probably to beat Odoms, and so is the short-term one. We want to beat Odoms at basically every race, so that's exactly how we're going to take the whole season.
Well, it's always good to have long and short-term goals as well and try and give yourself something to aim for with each and every week. But good luck for this season. Thank you very much for joining me for the grid walk. I'll let you go now and put in a good performance for yourself.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. It takes me on to the second driver that we got in tonight then. That's Samster in the Renault alongside Matt FNG. Sam, I've spoke to you already a couple of times I think this season, certainly I think in the pre-season race as well. Now that's done, you've managed to work out some sort of a pecking order. You and your teammates seem very close together. So are you looking to sort of build on that sort of good professional relationship you two have got together, knowing that you're very close to each other and looking to build on that during the season to obviously give yourself a good boost in the championship and also in the constructors as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky where I've got someone I'm very close with in real life outside the game, back as my teammate. He took a break for a while last season, but he's sort of caught back up, and it's good because, we can sort of enjoy this together and try and help each other out as much as we can. For us, I think we're aiming for points today, and I think that might be the case for a while. We've got some of the fastest drivers aren't attending today, and that's a good opportunity for us to capitalise on it. But like you said, it's the first race, and we just want to get across the line and get one race under our belt, because it's so well practicing doing your times and your qualities before, but one mistake in the race and it's all over. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously last week the pre-season race was at Belgium, which of course is a track we'll be visiting, a couple of months from now. So were you able to come away from that pre-season race with some good track knowledge or set-up options that you may have tinkered with and realised after the race, if I did this differently or did that differently, I might have been a bit quicker? Do you feel then that the pre-season race gave you, and all the other drivers as well, a bit of additional knowledge later on in the season?
Yeah, most definitely, because I think last game it was quite easy for me to transition from time trial to the race. But this game I find it a lot different. The cars, the handles wildly differently, and it's not exactly slower. It's always going to be a tiny bit slower, but it's a little bit more understeery, and I don't know if the feel of the Renault's a bit different, but I've learned to sort of tinker with the setup a little bit to set myself up to, for the endurance of the whole race, and to deal with tyre temps and the tyre wear, and to have a good balance at the front of the car and the back. So yeah, it was definitely helpful, and I'm glad we did it.
And finally for me then, obviously first race for season, there'll be a lot of nerves from a lot of drivers, including yourself as well. Australia seems to be one of those circuits which can be a bit crash-tastic. It's a very fast sort of semi-street circuit as well. Have you set yourself some initial targets for tonight? Are you going for a high placing, or is it a case of keeping it clean, get to the finish and see what happens at the end?
I think if I'm realistic, I'll like 7th and 8th, or maybe 6th would be like a really good result. I'd be very happy with that. If I finish, if I finish the race and nothing's gone wrong, I've not had an incident, I'd be disappointed if I weren't in the points. So that's probably where I am at the moment.
Okay, well, good luck for tonight then. Thank you very much for joining me for the grid walk, and maybe I'll talk to you again at another point in the season.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and that's the grid walk all done with. I'll get different drivers in, of course, with each different races go by. Of course, if there's some things to talk about from the previous race, maybe an incident or a penalty, I'll get some of them drivers in as well, just to reflect back on what they've done last week and see how they, psychologically, if you like, set themselves up for this one as well then. So it looks like we're pretty much ready to go to track. Before we do, I might as well go through the confirmed teams and drivers. I did do this at the beginning of the pre-season race, but for those of you that didn't watch it or unfamiliar who is where. So in the Red Bull team, we've got two VSR drivers, Marquez's and Blizzard, teaming up together. In the Haas team, we've got Brettster and Jesse. Toro Rosso have Lewis and Owen White. The Ferrari team has Jay and Mark Espy. The Renault team has Samster, who I just spoke to alongside his teammate Matt FNG. The Alfa Romeo team did have LR Nick and Glock, but Glock has now left and being replaced by another Matt, so we've got two Matts in this tier now. In the Mercedes, you've got Lakitu and VSR Wayne. The McLaren team has Kian and ILRT Louis. S2V Paris and VSR Onyx are teaming up in the Williams team. And rounding off the grid, we have VRT, Chapalele and Midnight in the Racing Point. We've got two drivers I know for definite are missing tonight. That is Lakitu in the Mercedes and Louis in the McLaren. Hopefully they'll be able to join us a few races from now. We've still got a few drivers missing, so hopefully some of them will join in. Quickly then, before we go to the track, talk about the sponsor for this season. They sponsored the league last season, but here again as well. It's Next Level Racing. You go onto their website, you'll see there's plenty of cool products on there as well. Stands, racing seats, pedals, that sort of thing. So if you are interested in maybe getting into proper sim racing rather than just sitting on the floor of a pad and really setting yourself up to be immersed in that sort of simulation racing with a seat and a wheel and all that, do check them out as well. They're giving away some nice prizes towards all the championships, all the championship winners, I should say, at the end of the season as well. And of course, having their support and their sponsorship really does help One Hub Racing to grow. So we are very close now to going to the grid, I feel. There's a few things to talk about after the pre-season race. Now again, for those of you that watched it, you would have seen it on stream. For those of you that didn't, the formation lap was a bit silly. Now I know it's just a pre-season race and things shouldn't be taken super serious like it will from now on, but we do ask the drivers to have a bit of decency about them and respect the other drivers and things like that as well. So you look around at some of the drivers on the formation lap when they were hitting other drivers as well, and you had Brettster as well for the final two laps, basically gave up on the race and was doing burnouts or donuts, if you like, in the bus stop chicane. All the drivers that were involved in incidents on the formation lap were given time penalties to be added onto that race. Brettster, though, has not been getting away so kindly, I should say, because of what he was doing, donuts at the final chicane at Belgium, which is one of the key overtaking opportunities. And if you remember, we had the 4 or 5 guys at the front battling quite hard for position. He's not only been given a qualifying ban for tonight, which I do hope he's remembered, but he's also going to be starting this championship on -5 points. So he needs, I think, a 7th place tonight just to get off the mark. So if he finishes 8th or below, he's still on negative points. So not good from Brettster. Hopefully himself and all the other drivers realise that antics like that aren't really what the league wants, as we're now ready to go to the track for the qualifying session. So Brettster starting the season on -5 points. Another thing to talk about is the fastest lap rule. Now in real life F1, we know that if you set the fastest lap in a race and finish inside the top 10, you gain an extra World Championship point. Slightly different with One Hub. The top 10 still stands. You finish in the top 10, set the fastest lap, you get a point. But if you also set the fastest lap from 11th down, if there's 15, 16, 19 finishes, whatever, 11th down, you also get an extra World Championship point. So it gives the guys at the back of the field something to race for. Some of these guys might be a bit off the pace, they might have the wrong setup on, they might be struggling with track and weather conditions, they might have tripped over other drivers early in the race, and rather than just throwing a towel early on, maybe try and go for the fast lap towards the end to give yourself a bit of glory at the end, at least walk away with a championship point. So it's something we've got to try and keep an eye on at the end once we look at the final classifications. So we are missing other drivers, and I think it looks like we've only got 14 maybe that are starting tonight, which is a little low and a bit disappointing for essentially is the season opener. Good evening to each and every single one of you are tuning in now. I do know that the Pinnacle Tier is still going on. Last time I checked, I think it was about lap 12 or 13, so it should be, I think, relatively close to the end now, and hopefully most of those guys watching will meander their way over to the Prestige Tier as well. The fourth and final race tonight as we kick off round 1 at Australia. So just running on board with VSR Wayne. Apologies there, we had a bit of a delay from the transition from lobby to the racetrack. Looked like Jay had connection issues. He's left the session, hopefully he can rejoin. So at the moment we've only got 13 drivers. Bit disappointing, it's always nice to have a full grid for the season opener, but this is good news for some of the drivers that may struggle around here, because they're looking around now thinking, well, okay, I've only got to finish ahead of 3 or 4 drivers now to be in the points, rather than about 7 or 8. So it's a good opportunity for the drivers that are here tonight to score some early points on the board. We've got pretty much every driver apart from Blizzard and Jay who's still not in the session out on circuit nice and early. I've been told as well from Paris, thank you very much for that, that it's going to be a dry race. Unfortunately, it's one thing I can't tell. I'm not sitting in the garage, I can't see the TV screen, I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but it looks dry for qualifying and it's going to be dry for the race as well. The soft, medium and hard compound tyres that we'll see across the whole season as well, we'll quickly touch on them then. I'll be expecting most of the field to be trying to set their best lap time on the soft tyres, and then in the race as well, it'll be soft onto mediums or maybe soft onto hard. We do have that discussion constantly about the difference in tyre wear levels and tyre wear grip between the pad and wheel users. We'll have to see how that develops, not only in this race but as for the rest of the season as well, as VSR Wayne begins his first flying lap here in qualifying. Still 15.5 minutes left to go, running in the AMG Mercedes team for this season. He's the sole representative in that Mercedes tonight due to Nikitu not being here, and we're missing other drivers as well, as I briefly touched on. So Wayne then just completing sector 1 of a 26.359. We'll jump on board of a Mercedes driver as he tackles sector 2 now. The difficult points in this circuit, I'd probably say 11, 12 and 13. You'd be expecting most of the instance in qualifying and race to be happening through there. We're just coming through 9 and 10 now. 11 and 12 is the very fast left-right chicane, finishing off sector 2 into sector 3 as Matt immediately retires from the session. Yellow flag in sector 1, so you might have binned it as we open up the DRS. Blizzard politely moves over to the left hand side to get out of Wayne's way, and then down into turn 13 as well. Difficult braking zone here. You can snatch a right front on the entrance there as well, and run wide a little bit, lose a bit of time. And then through 14 and 15 as well, this very Mickey Mouse left-hander towards the end of the lap. And Wayne's certainly pushing his car. Owen White sets the first fastest lap, which is immediately eclipsed by the racing point of Chapelele. Here comes VSR Wayne and up to the line. Is he going to be the fastest driver so far? He is. First driver into the 1 minute 19s with a 19.894. We'll come to Matt Tibos CFC then. He is in the Alfa Romeo this season. Very, very late call up to the Prestige Tier, so we'll keep one eye on him. He's had very little time to practice really and get to know these drivers. Obviously he wasn't in the Prestige Tier for the pre-season race as well, so he's going to be very green coming into this season as he comes up to the line at the moment. Does a 20.598, also on them soft tyres. Currently in 4th position. We've got 2 drivers that have set a lap time on the hard tyres. That's Lewis in the Toro Rosso, 21.999, and Mark Espy in the Ferrari at 22.267. Midnight coming back into the pits, almost crashing into the wall after his sighter lap. And we've got Samster as well. He's coming up to the line now in a Renault to complete his first lap time. It's a 20.381, good enough for P4 at the moment, as S2B Paris in the Williams has now taken provisional pole with a 19.763. As predicted, most of the drivers out there already on the soft tyres. So Matt's retired from the session already. Jay is back in the session and back out on circuit as well. Hopefully he's being allowed the option to put a setup on, and he's now out there on an out lap. So Onyx, he is on a flying lap by the looks of it, as is Blizzard as well, who's coming out of the final corner. So let's see what the Red Bull driver can do as he opens up the little letterbox rear wing there for the DRS, coming up to the line. It's a 20.222, good enough for P4. And I think we'll take a lap on board with VSR Onyx at some point. Where is he at the moment? He's still in sector 2 and he's on a flying lap. So we might do it with Jay, who's now starting his first flying lap. So the run down into turn 1. This will be a crucial overtaking opportunity. Through turn 2 as well. Try and build the speed. Keep us off that exit curve if you can. Open up the second DRS zone as we have a quick blast down to turn 3. This will probably be the key overtaking point. Late on the brakes. Swing the car into the right. Over to the right hand side again for turn 4. Try and keep away from the exit curve. You can see that sausage curve will unsettle the car. Turn 5. Very tricky. The back end will try to snap out on you. And then down through into turn 6 as well. Completing sector 1. 26.421. Through turn 7. Long left right hander here, not much for the car or the driver to do. Position yourself for 8 and 9. A little bit of a puff of smoke there from the front right as well. Run the car a little wide, but keep away from that Fly Emirates bannering on the right hand side. The last thing you want to do is damage your car. Another long left hander to complete sector 2. Here's 11 and 12. Take as much curve as you can, but be careful to not invalidate your lap. Open up the DRS for the third and final time in this lap then, as we come for the little right hand king into turn 13. Again, little puff of smoke on the right. Nope, he's managed to get the braking right. Run the car a little wide. Short burst up to 14. Very fast through here. Keep it in 5th gear. Car to the left hand side. Moves out of the way. Late braking in for the Mickey Mouse left hander. Straighten up the car to kill the wheel spin on the rear, and then through the final corner as well. Build the speed all the time. Open up the DRS. Come across the grid hatchings. Past the grandstands on the left. Pit garages on the right. Over the line. And the Ferrari driver sets a 20.082. Puts himself into P3. VSR Wayne back out on circuit. Paris coming on provisional pole is in the garage. So VRT Midnight is now on an out lap as well. He is on the soft tyres, just moving left to right of course to try and generate as much heat as he can into the tyres. Yeah, so Onyx abandoned his first lap for whatever reason, and he's back into the pits as well. So a 19.763 is the quickest lap time we've seen so far from Paris on the soft tyres. The slowest is from Mark Espy on a 22.2, but that's on the hard. So really you're looking at a 19.7 down to a 20.7, which was set by Owen White in 9th place. So a second separates the top 9 at the moment. And grid position is fairly critical here. It's not as critical as, let's say, other circuits like Monaco, for example, where overtaking is nigh on impossible. But around here as well, we've been quite narrow and only really having a couple of good overtaking opportunities. You want to obviously be starting towards the front as best as you can. With only 14 drivers starting tonight, unless other drivers as well have joined in at some point, it will be a case of the incidents we should see on lap 1 shouldn't be as high as it usually is with, let's say, a full 20 car grid, but don't be surprised to see a bit of carbon fibre out there somewhere around lap 1. So VSR Wayne then, you might get a little bit of a tow here down into turn 3 from Paris ahead, who's now starting an outlap, so I'm sure the Williams driver will politely jump out of the way at some point. He's now going to be starting to hold him up actually, so Paris should be looking behind him. Come on, let Wayne through. Paris isn't doing it, and what is going on here? We've got some connection issues there, because no way, life, shape or form should a Mercedes be literally driving through a Williams there. So I think we've got a bit of a connection issues between them two drivers, which might play havoc during the race, considering they are first and second so far. So Paris will continue his outlap. Wayne, I'm not too sure what his sector time is going to be like. He's only 700ths down, even with the distraction that he picked up from the Williams driver through pretty much the whole of sector 1. So I don't know if Wayne will continue this lap or abandon it. We've got the second Williams of Onyx ahead as well, who's also on an outlap. He does see Wayne in time and jump out of the way. So we'll jump on board again with the Mercedes driver. Someone up ahead has been off the circuit, kicked up a little bit of dirt. Just one corner to go now. He's going to abandon it. I thought he would. Oi! Get your slide on, Wayne. As he takes a bit too much speed into the pit lane there. So LR Nick, he's on his second flying lap. And he's only mere 100th down on his personal best. It was his first flying lap. So sector 2 is very crucial. Turn 11 and 12. Don't be surprised to see someone bin it in here during the race. We've got yellow flag in sector 3 as well. I can only assume that's someone probably going slowly, just jumping out of the way, warming up their tyres for their outlap. So down into the final few corners for now. We are starting to get some more and more people coming in, so I can only assume that the Pinnacle Tier is all over and done with. Good evening to each and every single one of you. For those of you tuning in for the first time this season, my name is Alex Lilliart, your solo commentator for this season, and I'm pleased to join One Hub Racing and take you through a nice 21 race calendar. I'm sure we'll all get to know each other very well over the next few weeks. So, hello Nick, back into the pits then. 8 minutes left of the qualifying session. Jay in third back out on circuit. Blizzard in fifth also as well. It looks like Samster is on a flying lap. His second go in this qualifying session. It was a flying lap, but it looks like he's backed out. So I can only assume he's just backed out a little bit. Saving the ERS as you can see there. So he's going to go again then. Samster, the sole representative in qualifying because Matt retired early. And we'll come back to him shortly. Does the car on the right stay out of the way? It does. So good behaviour by some of these drivers so far as Onyx takes provisional pole. And it's a Williams 1-2 at the moment, which I never thought I'd say. Is it 1995 all over again or something? Because you've got a Williams 1-2 at the moment. And whether it will last or not, I'm not too sure. But that was a blinding lap there by Paris and Onyx as well. You can see there, Paris 19.5, Onyx a 19.7 as well. So Wayne has got to find 2 tenths to even get himself on the front row of the grid. We've got yellow flags in sector 2. Again, I can only assume that's someone just going a little slowly. LR Nick has made the change on to the medium tyres. I will bring up then detail best so far. You can see that everyone has set their best lap on the soft tyres, and Nick, who's back out on circuit, is going on to the medium. So if he can improve his lap time on the medium tyres, that's going to be a major wake up call for every single driver to see him improve his time. And on the medium compound tyres as well, which I will be surprised to see. I'll be expecting pretty much everyone to be setting their best lap on the softs. So we'll come back to Nick in a minute. We'll have a look at Samster because we know he's coming close to the end of a flying lap, just coming into the final couple of corners now. And he's obviously made a mistake or not happy on those tyres. And he's abandoning the lap and coming back into the pits. Just under 6.5 minutes left of this session. I'm sure that we'll still be seeing some lap times tumble towards the end. So Shapalele now on a flying lap, marginally up in Sector 1. What Sector 2 is going to show for him? Again, he's only marginally up 700ths of a second, but as it stands, it'll be enough to jump up ahead of Samster. He only needs to find 4,000ths of a second to do so, as Wayne has improved his lap time as well, 19.584. So he has found a couple of attempts and moved up onto the front row, disposing of BSR Onyx in Williams. So here comes Shapalele then, on board of the BWT Sport Pisa sponsored Racing Point, and he wasn't happy with that lap and he's coming back into the pits. So we've got Lewis out there on the circuit at the moment, and this is a little bit of a lull at the moment that we'll be expecting towards the end of the session. Some drivers will take advantage of a fairly quiet track out there. Lewis at the moment at 21.999. Again, we'll have a look at the best lap times. Everyone set their best on the soft tyres, apart from Lewis and Mark, but they are outside the top 10. So if things were to stay as it is at the moment, it wouldn't mean anything. Everyone in the top 10 would be on the soft tyres. But LR Nick, we'll have a look at LR Nick. How is he getting on? No, coming back in the pits. I did think it would be a bit of an adventure for the Alfa Romeo driver to try and set a quicker lap on those mediums after he'd done it already on the softs. So Lewis is coming back into the pits as well, which just leaves VSR Wayne, who I believe is on an in lap as well. So Paris then is essentially the only driver out on the circuit, because we know that Wayne will be back in. Just under 4 minutes left of the session. Paris going early to try and lock down that pole position. And he's running with an Ayrton Senna tribute helmet for this race at least. Very nice to see. Very lifelike as well, as he just runs a little wide there, coming through 13. So the Rocket Williams man then, currently on provisional pole. We'll be looking to get this season off to the best start, and in fact he's well, I was hyping myself up there for a qualifying lap, but that's been blown away. He's back in the pits. So that just leaves Samster. He's now out on the circuit as well, and this is the lull, a couple of minutes before the end of a session when everyone just waits. Of course, as everyone knows, the grip and the speed and the lower lap times, I should say, always available better and better as the session goes on, as the track rubbers in. So that's why we get a lull now with pretty much every driver here in the pit still. But Samster is going to take advantage of what is essentially an empty track, as he's now just psyching himself up for his final qualifying attempt here, and he'll be looking for a positive start. He said in the pre-race notes he's aiming for about 7th or 8th, but if he can get a top 6 he'll be happy with that. I think he's got a good opportunity, certainly with only 14 drivers here. I don't know if any other drivers have joined since the qualifying session has begun. We'll have to wait to see on the formation lap. So here comes Sam then, out of the final corner, opens up the DRS. 3 DRS points here, 2 detection zones only. We've got another car coming out the pit, stays over to the right hand side, throws the car in for all of his might into turn 1, straightens up on the exit of 2 to kill the oversteer, opens the DRS again, and they'll slowly drift that car over to the left hand side, get a good braking purchase for turn 3, throw the car into the apex as well, try not to run wide because you need to be over to the right for turn 4, keep away from the exit curve as best as you can, and have a very tricky turn 5. Do we see a bit of oversteer through here? Nope, nice and controlled from Sam. Now down to 6 and 7. Again, oh, he's had to change gear through there, a bit too much speed, and he's backed out because of it as well. Yeah, I think he's taking a bit too much curve somewhere, and he's ruined that lap. But he can go again, and I think he will. He's got plenty of ERS. You can see he's knocked it down to ERS mode 0, so he's in full ERS saving mode, as pretty much every other driver, well, every other driver is now out on circuit. So this is going to be interesting. Owen and Lewis very close together as they come round into Sector 3. Midnight in Sector 1. We will be looking at the quicker guys, to be honest, to see what their lap times are going to do. So Paris is in Sector 2, Wayne is coming into it, Onyx still in Sector 1, Jay Sector 2, Blizzard is in Sector 3 now, so I think Blizzard will be the first one to cross the line of the big guys. Nick is ahead. We'll have a look at the moment. Fitted best. Yep, everyone on the soft tyres, as you can imagine, apart from Mark SP. Mark SP's out on the mediums. If he can get it inside the top 10, he might have an opportunity to do the alternative strategy, I should say. So Nick will be, I think, the first car across the line to start his final flying lap. 46 seconds left of the session. So this is it then. It's now essentially one-shot qualifying for these guys. The Alfa Romeo throws it into turn 1 with a, looks like a pink tribute helmet there to Antoine Hubert, who unfortunately died a couple of weeks ago in an F2 race in Belgium. Some of these guys obviously still running the tribute helmet in his honour. Very nice to see. So Blizzard then, we'll see what his Sector 1 time is going to be like. I know Jay, Onyx, Wayne and Paris are a few seconds behind. So Samster's going again then, obviously on a set of tyres that are already 1 lap old. And Blizzard is 5 thousandths of a second down in Sector 1. Let's have a look at everyone else. Paris is up by a half a tenth. VSR Wayne coming through Sector 1 at the moment. What is he? Is he up on his time or not? He needs to be. He is as well. Onyx is coming into Sector 1, or the ending of Sector 1, should say. Just coming through Turn 4. We've got a Ferrari off to the right. That will be Jay, I think, possibly. Who might have bottled his final lap. What's Onyx's time? He's up as well. Jay is off. So Jay's abandoned his lap then. So we'll come back to Blizzard. Oh, Blizzard's abandoned his lap as well. He's made a mistake, pulled off the circuit. So we can forget about Jay in 4th, Blizzard in 5th. Paris will be the first one across the line between the top 3 as it stands at the moment. The session is over. The checkered flag is out. Samster fails to improve. 8th place for him. Owen and Lewis back into the pits. 10th and 11th for the Toro Rosso pair. But here comes Paris. A 19.521. Can he improve? Can he secure himself pole position for round 1? He can't improve. Misses out by 200ths of a second. Here comes Wayne out of the final corner. Owen's backed out and retired from the session. Can Wayne take pole position here? He can't. He fails to improve by 2 tenths. And I think now Onyx has backed out possibly as well. No, he's still going for it. So can Onyx end? Paris and Wayne have failed to improve their final lap. Can Onyx throw a spanner in the works? He can, and takes provisional pole with a 1:19.516. I don't know if anyone else can improve. Blizzard and Jay have backed off. Matt has spun in the final corner. Shapalele has made a boo-boo in the final corner as well. And that is it then. Lewis back in the pits. Mark SP's abandoned his run. So that is it then. Qualifying ends here. It is a Williams 1-2. And I'm sure this is going to be setting up for a scintillating race here at Australia. So there we go then, the final classification. Onyx in the Williams pips his teammate by the smallest of margins, 5 thousandths of a second. VSR Wayne, I think, will be slightly disappointed to not be on the front row, but he's in a good position in P3. Certainly the class of the field, those guys. Jay in 4th place in the Ferrari, ahead of Blizzard and LR Nick, with Matt making his very, very first start in the Prestige tier, ahead of Midnight, Samster and Shapalele inside the top 10. Outside of it, we have Owen Wyatt, Mark SP and Lewis. Matt FNG retired early on in the session. I'm going to take a very short break here. I'll be back with you guys during the formation laps, but do be sure to put your predictions in the chat for what you expect in this race. So here we go then. The Williams pair on the front row lead the field away. It is still a 14 car grid, so all of these guys have got a good opportunity to pick up some much needed early season points. I will bring up then the tyre detail. So then, as per real F1 rules, qualifying inside the top 10, you are designated to start on the tyres that you set your best lap on, and as expected, everyone on the soft tyres. Outside of it, Owen in 11th, Matt in 14th going for the hards. They're going long into this race. Mark SP and Lewis P12 and P13 going for the mid-range tyre, the yellow walled mediums. Talking about the DRS, I did mention it in qualifying. I'll touch on it again in the race. We have 3 DRS zones here. The first one down the main straight, the second one between turns 2 and turns 3, and then the third one between 12 and 13 in sector 3 as well. 2 detection points, one of them acts for the main straight and the run down between 2 and 3 as well, and then obviously we have an independent one for the run between 12 and 13. All 3 places do require a bit of skill if you're going to try and overtake, being such a narrow circuit as well. Tyre strategy for tonight, well, the softs will be either trying to take these as far as they can going on to the mediums, but don't be surprised to see a few guys in the top 10 bolting in early for the hard tyres to make sure their tyre wear rate doesn't get too high that they end up making a mistake. Turn 12, you can see in the background there, don't be surprised if someone bottles it on the exit and spins it into the wall to ruin their race. And turn 13 as well has seen, I think, all 3 tiers tonight a bit of action. So the 14 car field then for the Prestige tier come round into sector 3. It's a new game, it's a new season, new drivers, new teams, new challenges. What will happen in the next 20 or so weeks? Who will be crowned champion? Who is going to be bottom of the pile? And who is going to be the standout favourite for all you guys and girls watching these streams? My money, I think, really is on the Williams pair. I know both of these two. I've known them for a couple of years now. I know they're very, very quick, but look out for Wayne. Blizzard as well in 5th place, and a few other guys further down as well. Likito is not here tonight, he's a quick driver. Louis is an insanely quick driver, he's not here tonight as well. So I'm sure that the front running order will continue to chop and change as this season goes on, but right now we are only focusing on the start of this race. Looks like all 14 drivers are now in position. Onyx on the left, Paris on the right. Can they keep it clean in the first couple of corners? We'll find out very, very shortly. 5 lights for round 1. Lights are out. Away they go now. A few drivers lighting up the rear tyres. It's a good start from Onyx and Paris, and I think Paris has got the inside in for turn 1. Might take the lead of this. The Williams guys are battling already, going through the first couple of corners, and it's Onyx that prevails in the lead. Still connection issues between Wayne and the Williams drivers. That is giving me a bit of a seizure at the moment, looking at the shaking screen. But meanwhile, further back, Jay has managed to get past Blizzard for 4th and 5th. Everyone has managed to keep it clean. Lewis and Midnight exchanging positions for P11 and 12 as well, as they all thunder through turn 5. Looks like Matt was just running a little bit wide. Might give an opportunity for Samster into 6, who duly does take that position for P6. So the Renault driver up 2 positions already. His teammate Matt has made 1 position as well. We come back to the leaders then. Onyx still holds on to it. Wayne and Paris still showing connection issues yet again. That is definitely down to desyncing or netcode or whatever. They're not literally piggybacking on each other around this circuit, which is a bit hilarious, to be honest with you. Look at the state of that, honestly. That is that's some next level physics right there. But Onyx still leads. Wayne now up into 2nd place. It's going to be difficult really to predict when these guys are going to do a move. I feel like they're just going to be driving through each other. What we're seeing right now isn't the same what they'll be seeing on their own screens, but it's still a Williams 1-2 as we come through to complete the first of 29 laps, and Jay holding on in 4th, as is Blizzard, bringing Samster and the rest of the fielders through as well. Nick and Tibos very close together in 7th, 8th for the Alfa Romeo pair, and it's Onyx that completes lap 1 in the lead of this race and sets the fastest lap, being the race leader. That's a bit ridiculous between P2 and P3. I kind of need them to be away from each other so I don't see that all races well. They can keep changing positions. Oh, you do love this game sometimes, don't you? So we'll have a quick scroll down the rest of the order. Chapelele in P9. We've got Owen White and Lewis exchanging positions for 10th and 11th. Midnight, SP and Matt F&G still very close together as well. Midnight's obviously had a poor start because he started inside the top 10 on the soft tyres, and he's already outside in 12th. Don't know if there's any early damage on that racing point. There isn't, so he's just lost a couple of early positions then. Come back up to the leader. We'll jump on board with Wayne to see what this is all about then. See, yeah, that's a bit of a mess. We'll move away from that. So Paris and Wayne are going to probably be in a race-long fight together on track, quite literally together on track. Oh, and Ella and Nick there, I think, just got a bit of a snap-on there coming out of turn 10. Now into 11 and 12. And it's very difficult to follow a car very closely through here. You get that washy drag over the front wing following a car so closely behind. These lower, wider F1 cars, this generation of F1 cars really do stop the drivers following so closely in the medium to high speed corners. There are some gaps forming. There's a nice little scrap going on back here for what is essentially the positions outside of the points. SP and Midnight fighting over 12th and 13th into turn 15. and the Ferrari driver takes that one down. Onyx still leads them. New fastest lap from Blizzard as Wayne and Paris continue to get intimate with each other. Jay holding on in 4th place. Blizzard now sets the new fastest lap of the race. Into lap 3 then. DRS has now been enabled. They won't have it this time down the main straight and on the run to turn 3 because the detection point is well long before the final corner. I think it's before turn 15, to be honest with you. So the first time these guys will be able to take advantage of the drag reduction system and gain a bit of extra top end speed. 2 rules, of course: they have to be within a second of the car in front, and they also have to be within that time once they go over the detection point, which is before turn 11, which we are slowly coming up to at the moment. The top 3 still very close together, as you can imagine, and they are slowly starting to bridge a little bit of a gap. As we'll have a look at Paris again. He is definitely within DRS range, but I think Wayne might be trying to get past. But of course, Paris and Wayne will have DRS, as you can see there. Onyx might come under threat coming into 13. I hope he's too far ahead. Any further moves further back as well with the DRS. There's a bit of a field spread in the lower half of the top 10, and Mark SB is already 2.5 seconds back. But there we go then, the first DRS assisted overtake of the season. Matt FNG moving up into P13 against Owen, but then runs deep into 13, and Owen says thank you very much, I will retake that position on the entrance to 14. So Toro Rosso driver back up into 13, pushing Matt back down to the position he started into lap 4 of 29 then, as Onyx now starts to try to bridge a bit of a gap, but Paris and Wayne are very, very close together. So we'll have a look at the position changes then, as the Williams of Paris has a little bit of a look at his teammate. You can see there that Midnight has made the worst start. He's lost 4 positions, down in 12th. Samster has gained 3, as has Lewis as well, P6 and P10 respectively. Other drivers have either moved up or moved down a position or 2. But the top 5 then are certainly starting to bridge a little bit of a gap. We'll jump on board with Paris. Is he going to think about trying a move? We've got yellow flag in sector 1. That's Owen White, who's facing the wrong way with damage on that front left. So I can only assume he's lost it through turn 5. I mentioned in qualifying, you can, if you run a bit wide through there, the oversteer does take over the car and it does spin the back of the car around. We came on board of a Toro Rosso driver facing backwards. He's a long way back with damage as well. So Owen White becomes our first major casualty of the race, making a mistake, and Chapelele becomes our first major casualty of picking up an ETL. 3-second time penalty to the Racing Point driver very early on here in lap 4. And look at this, the top 5. You could throw a blanket over these guys. They're so close together, and they're dropping Samster and everyone else behind. Mark SP spun on the exit of 13. So the Ferrari driver is round. He'll be able to reverse, do a little 3-point turn there and carry on as well. Has he got damage on that front wing? It looks okay. So I don't know if he made an attempt to get past someone or not, but we've got Nick with the DRS trying to get around the outside of Samster here. And he'll have another bite at the cherry then with a second stab at the DRS down into turn 3, but he's a couple of car lengths back. Samster feels the need to not need to defend into turn 3. And Samster then in the Renault keeps that P6 at the moment, the target he wanted. Owen White in the pits, and also picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So that Toro Rosso driver's race is going from bad to worse. But we'll come back to the top 5 and look at this. They are incredibly close together. Blizzard, we know, is a very quick driver anyway, and VSR Wayne and Paris are continuing to make F1 babies. Hopefully their connection sorts himself out at some point. Like I said before, what they're seeing on their own screen isn't the same as that. It's obviously a connection, laggy desync netcode sort of thing between the 2 drivers, which is why they seem to be driving through each other. Samster P6, 3-second time penalty, ETL'd somewhere around 11 and 12. And he's now nearly 3 seconds back from the top 5. And this could possibly be a race-long, season-long duel between these guys. As again, Onyx and Paris and Wayne get a bit too close for comfort. We'll jump on board with the Ayrton Senna helmeted, tributed Williams driver. DRS again, now down into turn 1. Does he think about a move? Does Onyx think about defending? Well, he has a little bit of a look. Just lets his teammate know in the rearview mirrors, I'm still here. I don't know if Onyx has damage or not, or if it's just general pace from all 5 of these guys, but they are incredibly close together, and one little mistake will see them tumble down the order. And Onyx is doing a very good job here at the moment, just keeping control of his car, making sure he positions his car in the places he needs to, as Wayne and Paris continue to dispute that P2. Jay in 4th, Blizzard in 5th. So we'll have a look at Owen then. He's back out on circuit, new front wing. He's got a 5-second time penalty, which he will serve because he won't be able to get their mediums to the end. He's a long way back. Same for Mark SP. Matt FNG as well was almost 5 seconds behind Midnight. So outside the top 10, there's not a lot going on. They're just circulating around, trying to keep themselves in contention somewhat for maybe a point or two. Of course, as mentioned early on in stream, if you set the fastest lap inside the top 10, you gain a championship point, as we all know. But if you set the fastest lap between the drivers that finish 11th down to whoever the last classified driver will be, you also get a fastest lap championship point net as well. So the guys at the back, they still have a point to prove, quite literally, if they decide to pit with a couple of laps to go for another set of soft tyres. So Paris is in the pits then. That saves my seizures somewhat, as it's released Wayne. As you can see there, pretty much everyone will move up the order now. Samster into 5th, the Alfa Romeo 6th and 7th, followed by Chapelele's Racing Point. And Paris going for the hard tyres then. So an early stop from the soft runner onto the hards, comfortably to the end of the race now, he'll hope anyway. Mark SP should be able to get past, he does. So Paris down in 13th, but he's got a bit of clear there. Should be able to make light work of that Ferrari and then push on. And it's now left the top 4 to duke it out amongst themselves. Onyx, Wayne, Jay and Blizzard. Williams, Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull. 4 drivers, 4 different teams scrapping it out for the race lead here. Lap 7 of 29. Plenty more action to come. And we've got to keep an eye on Paris as well to see what he's going to do. And will we see anyone else pit at the end of this lap? Owen White sets a new fastest lap on those fresh set of mediums, 1:24.205. So like I said about the new fastest lap rule, as it stands, he picks up a championship point because, you know, he's in 14th. He's outside of the points, but the new rule means 11th down gets a point as well. So Onyx then get a little twitchy there through 14. He's bridged a 6/10 of a second gap. Does he decide to pit? He does. And everyone else carries on then. So Onyx and Paris, early pit stops here. I'll be expecting Onyx to go onto the hard tyres as well. And Wayne, Jay and Blizzard might be thinking about trying to go onto the mediums. We've got Samster, he's in the pits as well, as is Chapelele. So we've got a few soft to hard runners then. Indeed, hard tyres for Onyx. Same for Samster, and Chapelele's going on to the medium. So Chapelele's going to try and do, what's that, 3/4 of the race on a set of medium tyres. Good luck to the Racing Point driver. I don't know if he'll be able to pull that one off. So it's Wayne then now in the lead, just 2 tenths ahead of Jay. Blizzard's dropped back a little bit, so I can only assume he's made a mistake. Don't think he's got any damage on that front wing. Difficult to tell with the camera angle on board, as you can see. You can pretty much see nothing there, so we've got to rely on the TV cameras. No, front wing's fine. So Jay then, lap 8 of 29 here at Australia for round 1 of season 14. Giving a chase to the Mercedes driver ahead. VSR Josh coming in saying Paris got the W. Maybe so. Pitting early onto the hard tyres. It really depends what these guys at the front do. Can they go long onto the mediums, or are they going to have to pit in a lap or two for the hards? As it stands at the moment, if they're going to pit in a lap or two for the hards, I think that Paris and Onyx will get ahead of them again and stay in P1 and P2. But I've got a feeling that one of these three might try to stick it out. No, they're all in. They're all in then. It looked like then that I thought Blizzard might carry on, seeing the top 2 pit. But they're all into the pits now. Oh, and VSR Wayne picks up a 5-second time penalty, and Blizzard just gives a little love tap to the rear wing of Jay's Ferrari as well. So it looks like they're all going on to the hard tyres. LR Nick in the Alfa Romeo also into the pits. Midnight also in as well. So just a few drivers yet to make a pit stop then. So where's Paris and all this? Let's jump on board the Williams driver. He's jumping up the order. He will retake the lead of this race. Where's Onyx as well? This is it. Wayne and Onyx into turn 1. And Onyx retakes that position. So it is still a Williams 1-2 then. The top 5 now all on the hard tyres. And Blizzard is a long way back now. He's lost a couple of seconds. So Paris, Onyx, Wayne, Jay and Blizzard should be, well, it won't be your top 5, will it? Because Chapelele and Samster have achieved the elusive undercut here. And Samster is looking at a possible top 5 here. He's right up behind Jay as well. Another lap and he would have managed to get ahead of the Ferrari. So the top 4 out of position. They've yet to make their first pit stop. Matt will probably be in at the end of this lap running the soft tyres. Lewis, Matt in the Renault, Matt Renault I should say, and Mark SP in the second Ferrari will be going as long as possible, because they'll be pushing the medium and the hard tyres and trying to make the change onto the softs before the end of the race. And Mark Espy pushing that Ferrari a bit too much, picks up a 3-second time penalty, defending the inside into turn 13. Here comes Panis with the DRS. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1. Samster's off the circuit, I think he is. He's lost it, I think, through 12. Spun that car around, and he would have put a bit of dirt, dust and gravel and a bit of extra wear on those fresh hard tyres. And the Renault driver was looking good momentarily there for a potential top 5. Now finds himself all the way down in P13 as Matt from P3 makes a pit stop onto the hard tyres. So Lewis in the Toro Rosso now enjoys his moment in the sun, leading the race here for Toro Rosso. Matt in second, Paris now into third place. Here comes Mark Espy defending from Onyx, who is up the inside and makes light work of that Ferrari driver, running long on those medium tyres. VSR Wayne, Jay, Chapalady, Blizzard and LR Nick complete the top 10. So Wommer, I think it is, coming in the chat. Has Owen pitted multiple times? We'll have a look. Nope, just the once. He, in case you missed it or not, he spun coming out of turn 5 in the early laps as well. Lost a lot of time stopping the car, turning it around. Then obviously had a slow lap back to the pits to make a change and also change his front wing, which is why he is quite a long way back. But he has indeed only made one pit stop. We'll look at the other guys as well on pit stop. So Lewis, Matt and Mark Espy still yet to make their one and only stop. And Espy defends the inside against VSR Wayne. He's going to try it the hard way around turn 2. Or squeezed off a little bit by the Ferrari driver. No harm, no foul really. As we've got the Williams drivers very close together again, as they have been pretty much since the start of qualifying. Let's be honest, only being about a couple of hundredths between them. I think it was 5 thousandths between the Williams drivers in qualifying, and here they are. Not much more separating the pair of them. They are your de facto P1 and P2 at the moment. And this is working well for the team because Mark Espy is now 2 seconds back and he's holding up VSR Wayne, who will not want to be losing time behind this Ferrari driver, going long onto his medium tyres, and Wayne will be wanting to get past as soon as possible. Blizzard manages to pass Chapalele, so Wayne, Jay and Blizzard essentially 3rd, 4th and 5th at the moment, but they're still losing time to the front two. So the Williams drivers have got to keep it clean, make sure they know what they're doing and don't trip over each other, because they're odds on here for P1 and P2. Mark Espy doesn't decide to defend into turn 13. VSR Wayne was too far back. And the Williams drivers again. It's been a long time in real life F1 to see a Williams pair P1 and P2. It's been about 5 years, I think, but here we are then in One Hub Racing. That's exactly the positions they're holding. We'll jump back on board with VSR Wayne. It should be an easy move, I think, into turn 1, if not turn 3. Mark Espy is defending this. He's not fighting these people. He's off strategy. But, of course, he's got every right to defend that position. He's racing for position. Not, in 5 or 6 laps' time when he pits, he'll be about 20-odd seconds back. But if he wants to defend the position, there's nothing stopping him. Although I feel if his teammate Jay catches him in the next couple of laps, I think Mark will just jump politely out of the way, not holding up his teammate too much. But Wayne is finally through, but a couple of laps behind that Ferrari driver has seen him lose 3 seconds to the Renault, the Williams pair ahead of him, who are now up behind Matt. Also going long into this race, starting at the back of the field after retiring early in qualifying, and he immediately jumps out the way, and he wants no part of this squabble for the lead between the Williams pair. Matt is running his own race. He doesn't want to trip over these guys or lose lap time, and Paris then picks up a 5-second penalty for gaining a position and a 3-second penalty for exceeding track limits as well. I don't think they've changed positions. I'm not too sure what all that's about. But yeah, okay, so Paris has just picked up 8 seconds worth of penalties. That is going to make major changes towards the end of this race. And for those of you wondering who has what penalties, I try to keep it as a surprise. I don't like to check the race director. I like to just let the race flow and call the action as I see it. And if there are any position changes, we'll find out at the end of the race. But right there, within the space of 5 seconds, Paris picks up 8 seconds worth of penalties. And that's going to be playing on his mind now, because the chance of him winning this race are slim now. unless everyone else behind falls off the circuit. We've got yellow flags in sector 3. That's Samster, his second spin in 2 laps, I think. And again, he's lost it through the tricky turn 11 and 12. And it's a race starting to unravel for this Renault driver. Spoke to me on the grid walk before qualifying, said he was aiming for P7A, but would be quite happy with a top 6. At the moment, he's in 14th and a long way back. 2 spins in the last couple of laps. So Lewis still leads, 13 of 29. He'll be in. It depends really how long he's going to be able to take these medium tyres as Chapelele and Jay exchange positions. You've also got LR Nick and Matt Tibos as well, close behind. The Alfa Romeo pair have been pretty much together like the Williams pair all race, and they still are now in P10 and P11. So Paris essentially still leads this race because Lewis is off strategy. He's yet to make his pit stop. Onyx in second, Wayne is in third, Blizzard fourth, Chapelele is now up into 5th place. Because Lewis in the lead, Matt in 4th, Mark SP in 6th. They've all got to make a pit stop, and Chapelele running off the circuit there between the final 2 corners. Might give Jay an opportunity into turn 1 as Wayne up ahead disposes of the Renault of Matt fairly comfortably, I felt. Chapelele then really running the ragged edge in that racing point. This is a battle all for positions, and Onyx and Paris are exchanging positions as well. Probably a move into turn 3. Not too sure if Paris let his teammate through or not, or if it was a real battle for the lead. I don't think Onyx has any penalties. Paris has 8 at least. I think Paris might be putting on a bit of a defensive block now for his teammate. He knows the race win is pretty much gone unless Onyx and other drivers fall off the circuit, which is looking rare to be honest. But it would be careful because Wayne is slowly catching behind. He was 3 seconds a couple of laps ago. Now it's down to 2.5. And Sam Steven now sets a new fastest lap. Oh, very twitchy there from Paris in the exit of 12. And then Sam Steven picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. It's quite challenging to do a 50% race around Australia, restrict corner cutting and not pick up a penalty. I wouldn't be surprised if pretty much every driver has at least 3 seconds tonight. And talking about 3-second penalties, Owen Wyatt down in 13th picks up another penalty as well. So Lewis still leads in, coming into the second half of this race. He's losing a little bit of time to the Williams guys, but not so much. He'll be focusing on his own laps, keeping it cool, calm, clean and consistent at the front. As Jay pits, so what's Jay in the pits for? He's only done 5 laps. I can only assume this is a front wing change. It is. The team are ready to change it, so I think Jay's either made contact with the wall by himself or with another car. And Jay was pushing Chapelele quite hard for that P8, and now he's thrown that all away. So Owen and Sam are still too far back then. So Jay will be out in 12th. And then we've got Midnight now in 11th. He's close to Matt Tibos, who's also close to his teammate. So we are seeing some little gaps now start to form inside the top 10, second and a half plus. And the main battle really is between Onyx and Paris for P2 and P3, but I think at this stage with Paris's multiple time penalties that will be added onto his race time, he's just going to act as a bit of a rear buffer against this guy if he continues to creep into it. 2.3 seconds now, so another couple of attempts this lap. Negotiating his way through turn 11 and 12. Still got 14 runners of the 14 that started. Don't be surprised to see someone outside the top 10 pit with a couple of laps to go for a set of soft tyres to try and get the fastest lap for the group of drivers outside the top 10 to claim an extra championship point. Bit of debris there on the right hand side, so someone's obviously lost it, clipped the wall at some point in the race. Might have been Jay a lap or 2 ago, which is why he was recently in the pits. So Onyx and Paris are now starting to catch, and Matt's in the pit centre. Matt pitting at the end of lap 14 off of the hard tyres. So Matt's done 14 laps on the hard tyres. Meanwhile, Lewis can do 16 laps, and Mark SP on the mediums as well. Is he going onto the mediums or the softs? It's onto the mediums. So Matt then not feeling comfortable running the soft tyres at all. He's going hards onto mediums as we've got Blizzard and SP squabbling over 5th place as the Red Bull driver through comfortably on the run to turn 3. So we're starting now with each passing lap to get a clearer and clearer picture of what the true running order is. Oh, Blizzard was getting very twitchy there coming through 5. Lovely helicopter shot here of the Red Bull driver. Negotiating 6, 7, 8. Now a short little blast to turn 9 and then 10. And then the very challenging 11 and 12 yet again. So Blizzard is now... Oh, we've got the Williams drivers exchanging positions. Oh my God, they're going into 11 and 12 almost side by side. Please don't give me a heart attack, guys. Paris then... back in the lead. And these guys are not giving it an inch or a quarter. Oh, they're so close. There's almost contact. There is a little bit of contact between them. This is great racing by the pair of them, but they've got to be aware that all this fighting is bringing Wayne in the background. There he is. It's going to be 2 seconds now. Oh, love tap from Onyx to the back of Paris. He doesn't want to do that too many times. He'll pick up a bit of end plate damage if he does. Running wide through the final corner as well. Due to a lack of front downforce. And is he going to try it? Paris defends into turn 1. And Onyx will have to try this around the outside, drifting the car slightly wide. Chapelele has retired. I assume he's crashed, but I can't take my eye off this battle. The Williams drivers are really putting it up for a fight. They want to cross the line 1-2, but they want to do it in whatever order they feel like. But Onyx and Paris really fighting, and it's brought Wayne into it then, so we'll move away quickly. We'll jump on board. Oh, there's Chapelele. Just saw him there on the right hand side. He looks like he's lost it through the final corner and binned that racing point into the wall. And look at this, the Williams drivers are still fighting hammer and tong, tooth and nail over the race of this lead, and Wayne is with them. Look at that. Wayne has caught the best part of 2 seconds, and look at this, is now a three-way fight. The Williams drivers could potentially throwing a 1-2 away here because they're so busy fighting over each other. But side by side, coming into 11 and 12, who's going to give up here? It's so close between Onyx as Paris cuts across him, and Wayne is thinking this could be the golden opportunity to get past these guys. If these two end up taking each other out, Wayne is going to be gifted the race lead. Oh, and Paris has squeezed Onyx wide, and that's exactly what's happened, and Onyx is down to P3, and Wayne, this is the opportunity he's got to try and take the lead of this race. Lewis is the leader. He's in the pits now. And P2, 3 and 4 is going to turn into P1, 2 and 3 in a couple of seconds. Look how close Wayne is to the back of Paris. He's got the DRS as well, but Paris has a better top end speed as well. Are we going to see a move into turn 1? We're not this time by. Yeah, of course these two were making love babies early, weren't they? And they're still doing it again as well. So we won't be able to see a true overtake on circuit. We've got yellow flags. That's Jay on the right hand side who's retired. I've got to come off that. I can't sit there and look at it. And we've got a safety car because of it then. Right, so a safety car has come out, which gives everyone, including myself, an opportunity to breathe a little bit. But Wayne has taken the lead just before that safety car came out, and he has gone from P3 to P1 in the space of a lap. No small part because these Williams drivers, rather than help each other, have decided to fight each other, and they have thrown away a potential race win. Paris retakes the lead from Wayne, so maybe Wayne, what is going on here? Did one of them getting a lead or overtake under the yellow flags? I'm not too sure. I think we'll just cut away. I think they are still 1 and 2. It's just a case of their connections are playing up somewhat. And the safety car has come out for Jay pulling over to the side of the circuit, so it gives me an opportunity to breathe a little bit. I can't call who's leading between Paris and Wayne. We just have to wait until the safety car does go in a couple of laps, because as I mentioned before, their connection issues are all over the place, so we can't tell. But Onyx is in 3rd, Blizzard 4th, LR Nick is now into 5th place, Matt Tibos is in 6th in the 2nd Alpha Male. VRT Midnight, Lewis has just pitted for a set of soft tyres. Keep an eye on Lewis. He's on a fresh set of soft tyres. There'll be about 9 laps to go once the safety car goes back into the pit lane. So I'll be expecting him to make some moves up. This brings Mark SP, Matt, Samster and Owen back into it as well. You can see the safety car on the right hand side there. Paris, Wayne, Onyx and Blizzard all into the pits end, so they're throwing away potential track positioning. In fact, everyone is coming in. This is going to be about an 8 or 9 lap sprint then. Do they have sets of softs or medium tyres? Wayne's had to go for the mediums, but Lewis then retakes the lead of this race. Lewis leads this race. Lewis leads this race. He pitted just as the safety car came out, and because of the delta time slows everyone down, Lewis has retaken the lead of this race, and he is on a fresh set of soft tyres. Wayne out in P2, medium tyres. Paris P3, medium tyres. Matt carries on for track position, medium tyres. Blizzard out, fresh set of softs. He's in 5th. Nick, fresh set of mediums, in 6th. Onyx 7th. I believe he's possibly had a front wing change or maybe taken a penalty. He's in 7th. Midnight in P8. Tibos coming out on a fresh set of mediums in 9th. SP should be able to get the jump ahead of Samster in P10. I mean, it's Samster and Owen White. So the order has completely changed. These two can't decide where they are. But one thing we are sure of, Lewis in the Toro Rosso, a lucky driver. He stayed out, pitted at just the right time when the safety car came out. And he is now your true race leader. We've got Paris coming in saying, Wayne's not on my screen. No, don't worry. That's fine on stream, as you've probably already seen. You guys are sort of ghosting and glitching through each other. So it's a difficult challenge then for Paris and Wayne. It's they've got to sort themselves out somehow. But lap 19 of 29. As we're coming into sector 3 then, so it doesn't look like the safety car is coming in this lap. Lewis is your race leader. How about that? And we've got a mix of medium and soft runners out there as well. So Matt will comfortably catch up. And he is already pretty much caught up now. We'll have a look at the safety car just to make sure. No, he's still carrying on for another lap. So all of these drivers will be able to catch up. I'm going to take a very, very quick break here as Paris picks up a 5-second penalty for ignoring the yellow flag. I think this is because of what's going on here between these two drivers. So Paris's race is falling apart. And we're being so late in the race as well. All the penalties he has could drop him well outside the top 10. So this is turning into a bit of a glitch fest for Paris and Wayne at the moment. As we go into lap 20 of 29. Place your bets. Who is winning this race? So a safety car is in at the end of this lap. Wilmer comes back into the stream to say, how's Lewis in the lead? He pretty much pitted at the golden opportunity as soon as the safety car came out. I think he was probably already in the pits, possibly, or just coming out of the pits as well. And he was able to get round and jump ahead of everyone else, because pretty much every other driver, as you can see, apart from Matt, came into the pits. And another 5 seconds for Paris. I think some of these are going to be disputed once the race is over, because obviously there's some glitching going on between Wayne and Paris. But Lewis puts the pedal to the metal and pulls away now into lap 21 of 29. It's a 9-lap sprint. Can Lewis hold on to what will be the unlikeliest of wins? A few drivers in the background just weaving, gaining some extra tyre life and tyre temperature into their cars, but Lewis holds on to the lead ahead of Wayne, Paris, Matt FNG, who's on slightly used rubber compared to everyone else around him. And we've got Blizzard trying to move up the inside into turn 3, trying to make light work of that Renault driver who holds onto the inside for turn 4. They're side by side, they're neck and neck. Matt gives him the squeeze into turn 5. Blizzard is still there, be careful not to touch, you'll be in the wall. And Matt is holding on to that P4 at the moment, but you can already see he's starting to slip back a little bit. Blizzard and Onyx will be desperate to get past. They're on a fresh set of soft tyres and they can see a potential win here. Midnight down in 8th picks up a 3-second time penalty. The rest of the guys at the back did all catch up. So it's pretty much a 9-lap, 12-car sprint to the finish. Will the softs hold on? Will the mediums prevail and get quicker as the race goes on? Only time will tell, but Blizzard is looking so aggressive behind Matt FNG. Oh, again, very twitchy, running over the exit curve of 12. Will Matt defend into 13? He doesn't. Helicopter shot with Blizzard up the inside. Matt turns in, doesn't give the Red Bull any space. Oh, contact, and it's forced Onyx into the back of him as well, who possibly has front wing damage. It all just concertinaed up there. So we'll have a look at Onyx if we can get off his camera angle to see if he's got any damage. Nick has managed to benefit from that up into P6 for the Alfa Romeo team. Wayne and Paris are still exchanging positions. So does Onyx have any damage or not? We'll have a look at the front wing as he throws it into turn 1. He's fine. Retakes that P6. Blizzard in P5 is now again very close to the back of Matt. Will Matt defend into turn 3? He doesn't. He leaves the door open, and this should be the best opportunity for Blizzard, but he's gone very deep, locks up the front right as well into turn 3. Matt just gives him a love tap on the rear, but Blizzard in the Red Bull is now through into 4th place and can now start to give chase to Wayne and Paris, who are still stuck together ahead, and they're behind Lewis. He's a little off the pace compared to these front running guys. Truth be told, he shouldn't be leading, but he pitted at the best opportunity. A lucky pit stop it must be as well, really. The safety car came out as he was in the pits, I think, and that's why he's managed to hold on to the lead of this race. So Paris and Wayne will be wanting to get past, but we know that Paris has multiple time penalties. I'm talking probably close to 30 seconds at this point, which I think some will be disputed after this race because of the connection issues between Paris and Wayne. But here comes Paris. Is he going to try something into 13? Not yet. Lewis's mirrors are full of Williams and Mercedes, and if Lewis can hold on here, it will be the unlikeliest of round 1 wins. Matt, Nick and Onyx are still scrapping over 5th, 6th and 7th, and Onyx drives a late move up the inside to 15, forces LR Nick to take avoiding action and run off the circuit a little bit, and now Midnight is around the outside as well. Please don't make contact. DRS has been enabled again. Look how close these guys are. SP Samster and Owen White have been gifted that safety car back up, catching these guys now for points, and Midnight has been bullied off the circuit here. Both the Alfa Romeos have managed to get past, but he manages to cut just in front of Mark SP, who will not be thankful for that. He's going to send one up the inside to turn 3. I'd bet everything on it, and here comes Samster as well. Oh, it's 3 wide on the apex for turn 3, and poor old Midnight has been bullied down to last position. He was in about 7th a lap ago. Now all of a sudden he's down into 12th. I don't think he's got damage. He's just been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Owen, Sam and Mark SP are desperate for points here tonight. They know they've got a good opportunity, as has everyone else. Matt Tibos in his first very real start in the Prestige tier. He's running in 8th at the moment, just behind his teammate Nick. Onyx in 6th is still pushing hard. He wants to get past Matt as quickly as possible. Is he going to try into 11 and 12? Oh, a bit of a love tap again. Another time penalty for Paris. He's in danger of not finishing in the points, and I've missed it. I apologise. Somewhere, watching that scrap further back, Lewis has lost the lead of this race, and he's falling down the order as well. Here comes Blizzard up the inside. What's happened to Lewis? He's got damage on the front left. Lewis has made contact with either someone or one of the walls, and he's got a damaged front left. That car is going to be understeering horribly now, which is why he's lost the lead of this race, and it's why the Red Bull of Blizzard is so far up his rear end, if you like, with the DRS coming across the line. This will be an easy move for Blizzard as the top 2 again are connected. So Paris and Wayne now fighting over 1 and 2. Blizzard now up into P3. Lewis down into 4th, and he's nursing a damaged front wing. So Onyx, I think, will be seeing that Toro Rosso will be easy meat. Matt FNG is being pulled along as well, as is the rest of the top 10. Midnight and Owen back in the pits as well. So Owen yet again in the pits. I think it's probably his 3rd or 4th stop. So it's falling apart for the Toro Rosso drivers. Lewis was leading. He's down in P4. Owen is a long way back in 12th. But he might get the fastest lap and pick up a point for finishing outside the top 10. Paris and Wayne very close together, but again I keep reiterating, Paris has multiple time penalties. He's not winning this race, I can tell you that much. It might all change with the stewards reports after this race. We'll have to wait and see what happens as Wayne, oh, and someone's off in the background. Who's that? Is that Lewis? It is Lewis, well off the circuit there, coming through turn 11. What happened to Lewis? Did he make contact with anyone else? But he took a wild detour through 11 and 12, and the Toro Rosso drivers, this is a race to forget. Paris and Wayne still close together. Blizzard is not closing as of yet. Onyx now up into P4. Matt is looking at a top 5 for Renault. The Alfa Romeo guys close again for 6th and 7th. SP Samster and Midnight now back inside the top 10. And it always seems to happen with league racing. When you get sort of a sprint race towards the end after a safety car, everyone's pitted, they're on different tyres, there's a bit of damage out there, drivers out of position. You do find some more aggressive, more combative driving from these guys where they do throw caution to the wind. They know they have to be aggressive, and if they get an opportunity to send it up the inside, they have to do it, because if they wait, that opportunity might be gone. The laps tumble down here, 25 of 29, 5 to go, including the one all of these guys are on, as Lewis pits then for Toro Rosso to fix that front wing. Samster, 3-second time penalty. He'll be safe inside the top 10 because Owen and Lewis are a long way back now. Paris and Wayne still very close together for the lead of this race, and the rest of the top 5 are sort of separated a little bit. Blizzard's 2.3 behind the leading duo. Onyx is almost 2 seconds back. Matt is outside of DRS range, but he's got LR Nick very close together, and he's bringing his teammate through as well. But on board with the Alfa Romeo driver, ducks one way and then the other, up the inside into 13. A nice move up the inside to turn 13, up into 5th position. Locks up the front right a little bit, might give an opportunity for Matt back through, and the inside I think Matt might be spinning. He is spinning. He put his car in a position, and he's collected poor old Matt Tibos as well. So both the Matts off the circuit. There's significant damage, I think, to do both of these cars. Now the Renault's fine, but I think Matt has got damage on the front wing. He has as well, so the order has changed again. Midnight up into 8th, Samster 7th, SP now up into 6th place, and LR Nick is free to carry on in P5. So these guys are now starting to trip over each other, putting their cars in positions they probably shouldn't be, to try and gain an extra point or two. We've got yellow flags in sector 3. It's Owen Wyatt. He's off the road again, damage on the front wing, and Owen Wyatt, I think he's made 5 pit stops now or something. Well, he's made 3. He might be in for the 4th time as well. So Wayne and Paris still stuck together. Wayne is the leader on circuit, and he will be the leader at the end of this race. Paris has many time penalties. Disappointing that connection issues between the two of them means that we can't really watch these guys really battle it out, because it's just giving everyone a headache in the seizure watching them glitch over each other. Blizzard is in 3rd place, has an opportunity for the race win here. I correct myself, he may have just thrown that away with running wide for 11 and 12 with that 3-second time penalty. So the order's going to change with these guys so close together inside the top 10. Don't be surprised if someone in 3rd and 4th finishes down in 10th and someone in 8th gets on the podium, because there's a lot of time penalties out there at the moment. Paris and Wayne close together. Blizzard is closing up. Onyx is well on him, and they're dropping the sort of the Division 2 drivers of tonight, I should say, and on Nick in P5, just ahead of Mark SP. Samster out of DRS range, but Midnight is in that DRS range as well in P8. This guy has been up and down the order like a yo-yo, and he's going to try something into turn 3 if he gets a good exit. Mark SP in the Ferrari picks up another penalty. 27 to 29, 3 to go now. Is he going to send it up the inside to 3? He's not. Ducking, weaving around just a little bit. Matt Tibos with that damaged front wing, still holding on to 9th ahead of Matt FNG. Meanwhile, Lewis and Owen are going to be the only 2 drivers duking it out for an extra fastest lap. The leaders continue on very close, but as I said, Paris has basically said that he doesn't see Wayne on screen, and it's probably the same for Wayne as well. They know they're very close together on track. The positions will continue to change, but they're not physically seeing the other car on circuit. So Blizzard is not gaining. 2.3 is the gap now. Onyx is closed up a couple of attempts on this lap. Samster picks up a penalty. So Nick close behind SP. Samster is as well. And the top 2 changing again. But we know that's mainly down to the fact that they're not on screen with each other. So coming through then to complete lap 27 into 28. What's the order going to be between these guys? Because most of these guys have penalties. I don't think LR Nick has any, to be honest with you. So you might gain a few extra positions here. The Alfa Romeo driver has kept it relatively clean. And Lewis then 3-second time penalty as well, but he's outside of the top 10. And the top 2 then, obviously very close together. We could watch them, but there's no real point really. But not really properly battling on screen. They're just driving around sort of time trial mode, trying to beat each other across the line. And Paris again, he's well into the 20-odd second time penalties, I feel. So he's going to be tumbling right down this order. So Blizzard has an opportunity to win this race. Onyx has a great opportunity to get onto the podium. And all of these guys here will be wanting to move up the order. Owen picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. It's, I think, pretty much because both the Toro Rosso drivers are going for the fastest lap to claim an extra championship point outside of the top 10. Who will claim it inside the top 10? We'll have a quick look. We might as well. So the fastest lap at the moment outside the top 10 is held by Lewis. Inside the top 10 it is Paris. So at the moment they gain an extra championship point depending on where they finish. And look at this, Samster dancing and weaving, ducking and diving all over the back of the LR Nick's Alfa Romeo as Owen White sets a new fastest lap. So the championship point will be his. And we're now coming into, I feel, the final lap of this race then. Paris and Wayne are still very close together. Blizzard across the line. He's now over 3 seconds behind the leading duo, and Onyx is catching up as well. He's now within DRS range. SB holding on to a very brave 5th position. LR Nick will be doing everything he can to try and get past, but he's run deep through turn 1 and turn 2, so it might give Samster an opportunity for a cheeky dive bomb into turn 3, but he's way too far back. If he tried something here, it would be a very foolish thing to do. Midnight is keeping with these guys as well, hoping they start tripping over each other to gain a couple of extra positions and points. Tibos has dropped all the way back with that damaged front wing and now defending that 9th place from the second mat in the Renault. Then we have the 2 Toro Rosso drivers that are squabbling over the fastest lap. Lewis in 11th, Owen in 12th. We come back to the leaders and they've now started to ghost through each other. They're pretty much neck and neck, as you can see. Wayne, I think, will take the win of this race. Paris has so many time penalties. And it's going to be down to Blizzard and Onyx. Oh, and that's Blizzard. Blizzard's off. Blizzard's off. He's lost it on the exit of 12 on the final lap into the wall. He becomes another victim of that treacherous 11-12. And he's thrown a podium and a possible race win away. All of these guys have been gifted a position as we come up to Wayne and Paris. And so Wayne has managed to get ahead of Paris. He's going to cross the line in P1. I think he will keep P1 as well. Wayne wins the race for Mercedes. Paris has many time penalties. Where does Onyx finish in all of this? He is gifted P2. Mark SB, can he get onto the podium? He can, but he loses it because of other time penalties as well. And LR Nick is classified in 3rd place. Midnight in 4th. SP 5th. Paris, Samster 6th and 7th. Tibos manages to get past Blizzard on a run to the line. And the Renault of Matt F&G jumps the pair of them as well. It's 8th place for the second Renault driver. Matt DeVos, in his very first outing in the Prestige tier this season, picks up 9th. And Blizzard could have had the win. He could have had the win. Thrown it away on the final lap. Picks up the final point. Lewis across the line in 11th. And we just wait for Owen to complete this race. The 12th and final classified runner. So congratulations then to VSR Wayne. He does take down the race win with Onyx in an unlikely second place and LR Nick with the almighty surprise of a final podium spot. Penalties and accidents for the drivers ahead of him and he kept it clean. I think he might have been the only driver to not pick up a penalty and he thoroughly deserves that P3. The champagne sprays to complete the first round here in the Prestige tier for season 14. So the final classifications, and indeed the Alfa Romeo driver of Nick was the only driver to keep it completely clean in that race. VSR Wayne picks up the 25 points for the race win, gets his season off to the best start. VSR Onyx in second place for Williams, but we've been hoping for the race win after starting from pole. LR Nick, podium finish for Alfa Romeo, third place. Midnight then into fourth, yo-yoing up and down the order, ahead of SB in fifth position. Paris with his penalties all the way down in sixth. Samster in seventh, ahead of his teammate Matt Tibos as well in the Alfa Romeo in ninth place. And VSR Blizzard could have won, possibly should have won, finishes in 10th, losing it on the final lap. Lewis and Owen Wyatt both finished for Toro Rosso, but will be very disappointed with how their races eventually panned out. Fastest lap then between Lewis and Owen remains with Owen. We lost Jay mid-race and Chapelele as well. So that therefore then brings the end to the race and therefore the stream. Obviously I don't have a co-commentator, so I might as well sit here for a minute and quickly talk about, you know, my thoughts of the race as well and what I thought from the first race of the season. I thought it was good. You know, Australia was one of those circuits where it can be a bit crash-tastic. We certainly saw that in the latter part of the race, mainly because the safety car came out. It's basically a sprint mode, sprint lobby race if you like towards the end. You have to put the moves on, you have to be aggressive if you want to gain those positions. Obviously with the strict corner cutting rules that One Hub Racing employs here. There are going to be many drivers, as we saw, pick up multiple penalties. Don't be surprised if Paris moves back up the order. I feel that some of those penalties were a bit unfair because he was exchanging positions under the safety car with Wayne, but he had no idea where he was on circuit. Good performance, I thought, from LR Nick, the only driver to not pick up a time penalty and therefore pick up the final podium spot. And commiseration to Lewis as well, who was in a golden opportunity during that safety car period to pit and come out back in the race lead, but for whatever reason he fell down to third, had a bit of damage on the front wing, and it just fell away from there as well. And commiserations to Blizzard, who was on course for a podium and potentially the race win, losing it on the exit of turn 12 on the final lap and falling all the way down into P10. We started with 14, we finished with 12. Hopefully the numbers will be a bit higher next week, but certainly a good start to the season. Plenty of talking points, plenty of action. I'm sure it will continue for the next few months. So thank you very much for everyone tuning in tonight. My name is Alex Lilly. I hope to be with you for each and every single race of this season. Next week then, round 2 at the Sakhir International Circuit in Bahrain. Our first of 3 night races as well, starting at 6:30 with the Podium Tier, 7:30 Precision, 8:30 Pinnacle, and then finally 9:30 for the Prestige Tier. The league, of course, sponsored by Next Level Racing. Do make sure you go to check out all their cool equipment on their website as well for all of you aspiring sim racers out there. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week.